Hey there everybody, welcome back to another one of my budgeting videos. This is going to be my weekly update for my digital cash envelopes. If you are new here, the way that this works is instead of pulling out money and putting it into an actual physical envelope and making all of my purchases with the cash, I keep all of the money digital. So the money for my variable spending gets moved over to a prepaid credit card every 2 weeks, and then that is the card that I tap for all of my purchases. My categories are groceries, miscellaneous, fun, physio, and transportation. Anything outside of those categories has to be paid for in some other way. Preferably there is nothing outside of those categories, but you know, life happens. But for now, this book is just dealing with tracking that money for those intended purchases or those categories. I used to do actual cash spending, but after 2020, a lot of the places that I go switched over to preferring digital, and I just haven't gone back because I find that I also prefer digital. I used to do also quite a bit of my shopping online, or at least have a good mixture of online and in person going into stores. So it was also easier to keep the money digital because then say I purchased something that would fall under the miscellaneous category online, then I could just move the money over. Because I don't use this card for online purchases, I would use a regular credit card. So then I would just move the money off of the prepaid credit card over to pay that purchase. So it all kind of worked out. I mean, I do make mistakes at times. I'm not super solid with math and I'm human. And so you will see videos with these updates where I'm really stumbling and something has gone wrong and I don't know what I'm doing, but this one is okay. So where we left off last time was here, March 29th. So I had done some purchases and I had left my balances $24.63 in groceries, $12.50 in miscellaneous, $60.03 in fun, $15.75 in physio, and negative $1.70 in transportation. Now this is a bit of an anomaly for this category. My transportation column consists of usually gas purchases for my hybrid, and then also if I need to pay for parking somewhere or get a car wash or anything like that, or Uber. Sorry, I forgot about that one. If I take like an Uber somewhere, like it all falls under transportation. Usually I'm very good at not putting this one into a negative balance, but I don't carry this book with me everywhere I went. And I went to go get gas and I misremembered and I thought I had $58 in change in this category, but I actually had 56. So when I was pumping the gas, I was like, just hit 58 and a little bit of change and I'll be fine. But in reality, I was over by $1.70. So a negative balance. When I left off last week doing this update, I had chosen to not take money from any of the other categories to move over to bring back transportation to a zero balance, because I believe that it's completely fine for one category to sort of move money over into another category to bring it out of a negative balance if it goes in there. The only ones I really don't do that from is physio, because physio I fund to the exact amount that I need for the upcoming 2 weeks for a physio appointment. But oftentimes I'm fine with taking money out of miscellaneous to move over to say groceries to help bump it up if I've gone into a negative balance, or this time into transportation. Now last week I chose not to do that because it was only negative $1.70, and because all of the money for all of the categories is sitting on the same card, the card itself was not in a negative balance because all the other categories still had money in them. So I wasn't worried about the card, and I just thought, like when the next week comes and I have my payday and I put money in, it'll fix, like I would fix it. So I left it at the negative balance. Now, after that, so that was last week, on April the 2nd, I went shopping at Save On Food and I spent $27.26. I'm really sorry, the pen is really pale down here, so I hope you can see it. So that obviously put the groceries into a negative balance as well. And physio, I had an appointment that was $15.75, so that brought that to zero. Physio, I go because I'm getting treatment because of injuries from a car accident, and one of the appointments is the massage therapy from a neck injury. I have to pay $15.75. I believe it's like an office cleaning fee for in between clients to sanitize the space. So I know that I have, hopefully, as long as scheduling has worked out well, I have one appointment every week and it's $15.75. So I fund this category to have the exact amount of money I need per pay period to pay for my appointments. So it's completely fine, and it's actually meant to go to a zero balance after the end of the 2 weeks or somewhere within that 2 week period, because that's how I fund it. So now let's move over to the next page. So that left me with groceries at a negative balance of $2.63. Miscellaneous is sitting at $12.50. Fun is at $60.03. Physio is at $0, and transportation is negative $1.70. I decided in the end to move money out of miscellaneous to go and cover the negative balance of groceries and the negative balance of transportation. So I moved $1.70 from miscellaneous into transportation and $2.63 from miscellaneous into groceries, bringing my groceries and my transportation to a zero balance. It brought miscellaneous down to $8.17, fun stayed at $60.03, and physio at $0. So then, because Friday was payday, I put my contributions in for the categories. So my groceries got $120, miscellaneous got $20, bringing it up to a balance of $28.17. Fun got $20, bringing it up to a balance of $80.03. Physio got $31.50, so that's now its new balance of $31.50. Transportation got $20, so now that is at a balance of $20. And that is my envelopes right now. I have done some purchasing since then, but that'll be on next week's video. And I do apologize. I realize that most of these are showing up fairly faint. My pen was having some trouble when I was writing these out, so hopefully you can read them. But that is how I dealt with my two categories that went into a negative balance and fixing them out. Now, sometimes what I'll do, instead of taking the money from a third or a second category, I suppose, and moving some over to bring a category that's gone into negative up to a zero balance, I'll just leave it at a negative. So say transportation at a negative $1.70, and then when I put in $20, it won't have a balance of $20. It would have, because I am not doing math on the fly, it's late at night. Oops. It would have had a balance of $18.30. So I could have done that, and that was actually what I was intending to do, which is why last week I didn't correct the transportation column. But then when I was putting the money in and doing my budget and everything this weekend, I decided that I would correct them to zero, just because I do prefer to go into the upcoming new 2 weeks with categories fully funded instead of having it be a little bit under whatever is the amount that I put in. I don't know why. I think it's just like a mental thing. If I start with it at a lesser balance than what I had actually, like the amount that I had moved in, because I'm sort of paying off a debt from the previous pay period, it makes me feel like I'm just not going to be able to get through the next pay period without going back into a negative balance. I just feel like I have a little bit better of a head start if everything is in, like, having its full amount that I gave it for the 2 weeks. I don't know if that's really accurate or not, but it's just how I feel. So these are my envelopes for the coming pay period. They are all nicely funded. Like I said, I have done a little bit of shopping. I bought some groceries, but not enough for to warrant a grocery haul. And I did get some takeaway that'll go under fun, so those will all get tracked for next week and next update. But they're all sitting quite comfortably right now. I mean, I say that, it's only Saturday. It's been like 24 hours at most since I've done the budget and moved everything over, so I haven't had like quite a huge amount of time to mess them all up yet. I mean, at least give me one more day, right? So thank you so very much for sitting with me through this budgeting video and seeing what I do with my digital cash envelopes. I really appreciate it. If you also do digital cash envelope budgeting or cash envelope budgeting, however it is that you do yours, I'd love to hear about it and know how it's going. I hope everything is going well for you and balancing and you're able to fund your categories, whatever they may be. I will talk to all of you in the next video. Stay safe, everybody. Bye.